specifically on aggression, and we do not intend to get into the substance of aggression. We're talking here now about attitudes and perspectives, but specifically on aggression, the State Department and the Defense Department, symbolizing the sort of two major parts of the government involved in the creation of this policy, along with the Justice Department and the National Security Council. The State Department and the Defense Agreement agree on the entirety of a considerable set of concerns about aggression, but they emphasize different aspects of it. The State Department, for example, worries about problems with humanitarian intervention and the processes of making decisions about the use of force. The Defense Department is concerned about the deployment of troops, the hindrance of rapid responses, unfair or politically motivated prosecution of senior officers, and the chilling effect from the crime of aggression on the tactical and strategic decisions about when and where to send troops. You have also heard in Legal Advisor Koh's last speech and Mr. Lisau's speech today concerns about states' legal problems with the current texts, and concerns that aggression as an act is somehow fundamentally ill-suited to be treated as a crime. Again, I'm happy to talk to you about these concerns, but I don't want to get into a back and forth about the merits of the substance of them. Many NGO colleagues have asked about the prospects for U.S. ratification of the Rome Statute. This is understandable, since the ICC, to which we are all connected, has a major worldwide and very successful program in harvesting ratifications about of the Rome Statute, with this latest triumph, of course, being Bangladesh. It needs saying, for some of you perhaps, that American procedures and politics about ratifications of treaties are notoriously difficult. Compared to the general pattern of the ways in which ratifications occur in most countries around the world, the U.S. process is exotic, demanding, and full of obstacles and pitfalls. A particular problem of this kind is the process in Congress, which is extremely complicated, and the huge majority which is required in Congress, in the Senate specifically, to get advice and consent to the President's proposal to ratify a given treaty. The President, as elsewhere, performs the executive act of ratification, but he can't do it unless the Senate tells him that he can, and the Senate has to tell him with an enormous majority vote. To overcome these obstacles, we will require the achievement of a very high level of familiarity and comfort with the court in Congress, the administration, and among the American public. Achieving this level is a major task and responsibility for us, your NGO colleagues in the United States. We have been hard at work on this effort for quite some time, and we are continuing to do it. We will be going into a time after this review conference which will be particularly favorable, even if things don't go exactly as the U.S. would like on aggression. Even with that having happened, we will be able to build on what happens here in the review conference, because of the stock-taking exercise in particular, to create more and more of the atmosphere, the understanding, and the feelings that we need in order to get to a point where it becomes politically and practically possible to think about trying to pursue ratification. One particular aspect of ratification that I should add is that if you try and you fail, you go to the end of a very long queue, a very long line of treaties waiting to be dealt with in the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and it takes ages, even with a very good treaty, to get back to the head of the line again. Some of you, I know, are involved with efforts in the United States having to do with the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women and the law of the sea, and I don't need to tell you what a painful process that is. Others of you will have heard about that. The U.S. experience here in Kampala now, and particularly this week, will inevitably substantially affect its work on the new policy and the development of its relations with the ICC. The effect, if things don't go well, will be not to stop everything, but simply to slow it down a bit, and we will have to counter that effect as much as we can. If the U.S. comes away feeling that, at a minimum, its interests and concerns have been heard and there has been a response to that, even if the response is not fully satisfying, then we will have a momentum on which to build to move things ahead faster. With its pledges, its strong participation in the work of the conference on stock-taking, and its vigorous cultivation of other delegations, the U.S. may well have built up the reserve of goodwill toward it in this meeting that it so evidently wants, and feeling that goodwill is going to help build a sense of satisfaction in the delegation that we can work with when we get, as I say, when we get back. With that satisfaction, we American NGOs, representing the worldwide NGO movement and the CICC, hope for and will try to achieve a U.S. understanding of what happened here, to enhance the realizations about the ICC and about its negotiating processes, which it will have learned about here, and we will try to do that in a way that will sustain the momentum toward a comprehensive and positive U.S. policy about and relationship with the court. And now let's have your questions and thoughts, and Matthew will lead that part of the evening.